If you like my videos, don't forget to follow me on social media to keep up to date with all the latest news regarding my channel and my content. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe below or at the end of the video. Don't forget to check out my brand new Amazon store, filled with recommendations on Blu-rays, DVDs, books, and other media featured in my videos. Beautiful homemade popcorn from our very own home cinema popcorn machine. Take a look at that beauty right there. Oh, makes popcorn just like the real deal in the cinemas. Look at that. It's fantastic. And this could only mean one thing. It's finally time for me to do the thing that has been requested the most on this channel. I get this request all the time. And I'm finally going to do it. And what is it? I'm finally going to do a tour of the home theater room here at my house. And of course, we've got to start where all the magic begins. Now it's popcorn. You go to the movies, you go to the candy bar, you get yourself some beautiful popcorn. Oh, can't get enough of this stuff. There's a beautiful popcorn machine here that we bought out in Dandenong. Had to go for a little bit of a drive to go and pick this guy up. I bought this from the wholesaler that sells these to cinemas and hires them out to schools and stuff to use at school fairs and all that kind of stuff. They actually are the wholesaler of the popcorn that they sell to cinema chains. So we've got the real deal right here. Actually, under here, next to a little rocket raccoon here, good boy. Under here, we've actually got, there you go, bags of popcorn, big bags of popcorn salt, the great stuff itself, butter, popcorn butter, and of course, popcorn movie time popcorn things in there too, so that's fantastic. So we got all these from this place out in Dandenong. This is a real deal. This is the stuff you actually get at the cinemas. What do you do after you get popcorn at the cinemas? So we're finally gonna do it. We're gonna head in to the cinema right now and just check it out because I know all you want to check it out. So let's have a look. Open up these doors. You ready? Oh, look at this. Fantastic. Home theater room. Oh, brilliant movie playing on the big screen over here too. Okay, let me just put this down somewhere. I'll put this on the chair over here. So here we are. This is the home theater room. This is our setup here. This is our big screen, of course, right here. 3-meter cinema screen. Bought from the Big Picture people, like a big home cinema chain here in Australia. They sell all this kind of stuff. They sold us the whole system, basically. The screen, speakers. I think the player, original player as well came from them too. It's a 3-meter screen. So it's quite a big size, but there was a size above that too, which sadly we couldn't fit in here. It would have been great, but this is good enough. And we sit maybe 3-4 meters from the screen, which is pretty ample size for viewing something like this. You wouldn't want to be much closer. I think if we had a bigger screen, we'd probably struggle to watch something in here anyway. You probably noticed next up, we got these wonderful lights up here. These are all LED lights. We actually bought these from eBay. Someone in China was selling these just by the meters and meters and meters load. They come in 5-meter strips, and there's a few of them up there. It's about 20 meters worth of LED strip lighting that goes across the ceiling there in this bulkhead, which is awesome. If you look up here, actually, that there is that's the receiver, the infrared receiver. I've got a little remote control here, which is there you go. You can control this thing. You can change the color of the room if you want, any mood you want. Feeling blue, put that on. Having a horror movie night, oh, red. Looks fantastic. Feeling a little yellow, feeling a little green. You could do that. Of course, I had it on like fade mode, so it's like cycles through the colors right here, which is awesome. We don't often have these on, you especially don't have them on when you're watching a movie. See, the screen looks much better without any light on it at all. Looks beautiful. When you got the lights on, it's quite faded. So we never have any lights on in here when we're playing a movie, especially not the strip lighting. We actually don't use the strip lighting that much, but it's an awesome little effect, especially if you've got people coming over, especially people who are coming for the first time. It's awesome to sort of bring them in here. You got the lighting going. They love it. This room is actually custom built, so we did an extension here only 4 or 5 years ago now, and this whole section here was brand new, so we specifically designed this to be a home theater, and we sort of designed it to be, I suppose, in the style of 20s, 30s sort of deco. The house was sort of built in that era, so we sort of tried to keep it in keeping with the style of the house, but also big fan, especially I'm a big fan of classic Hollywood cinema too, and just that whole idea of classic cinema and classic movie houses and stuff. So we sort of wanted to sort of design it off that kind of thing, I suppose. So even like things like you've got the bulkhead, which you've seen with the strip lighting in there. So even like the bulkhead, we've got the cornices up there, which are sort of very 1920s, 1930s, that era as well. So everything's really in keeping with the time. And if you look up on the roof, we've got sort of a ceiling panel up there. Again, very much in that same style. I suppose it's really like sort of an Art Deco style that we're going for in here, which I think is awesome, and it makes you feel like you're like in an old cinema, movie house, movie palace sort of thing. This here, let's go over here actually. These are our seats. We'll talk about the setup just sort of at the end. I'll take you around the room first, and then we'll take a look at the setup and what we've got in here. These are our seats. This is where I sit. So if you come right in front of me here, you may recognize this angle. This is where I sort of do all my movie reviews, right from here. So I'm talking to you guys, doing a review. Star Wars was bloody awesome, and if you didn't like it, then it sucks. But it was awesome, great movie. So this is where I do my reviews. These seats are great, watch this. So you're watching a movie, and you can just recline back. Oh, further, further, further. Nope, still goes. Bit more. That's it. Oh, and you get your popcorn. You sit and enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Oh, I'll do the rest of the video. Okay, hang on. Get caught up in this great movie. Alright, so these are our cinema chairs. Obviously, we've got 8 in here. It's not that often that we sort of fill them up, but we do have movie nights sometimes. I have family over or friends over, and they will come and we'll fill up the cinema, and that's awesome. They're the best nights in here when you get your friends and family over and you just spend time with your family and your friends and watch a movie or two. That's the best. And they're good. They're custom built for a home theater. We wanted 10 in here, I think, didn't we? And we couldn't quite fit 10 in here, which was a shame. But like I said, it's not often that we fill up the cinema. They've got cup holders here, which is great. So you can put your cups there, you can put your lollies there or whatever. It's great, it's great, it's great. We'll go up here, up the back. More chairs, of course. More chairs up the back, as you've seen. We've got these cushions here. Like I said, we love classic Hollywood. And we just wanted just every little bit of the room to just sort of feel like that sort of classic Hollywood period, 1920s to 1960s sort of thing. We found these at like a flea market, sort of like one of the universities here do this big market every Sunday. And one of the stalls had these, they sort of made them. And they're fantastic. So we've got the Audrey Hepburn one, Marilyn Monroe one, James Dean and Grace Kelly, all the way up here. So they were cool, so we bought them. So it sort of fits in with the theme, and it was just when we were first building the home theater here that we found them. So that was just really lucky. And it also ties in with the posters that we got on the wall here. I know a lot of people have been asking about the posters. We had 2 of them were custom printed. Actually, there were 3 custom printed, but one of them I've taken down since. We'll go through the posters first. I'll explain why we've got them up. First up, we have Cool Hand Luke. It's awesome. I had to have Paul Newman on the wall. Old Man Rick had a dream many years before we built the home theater that he met Paul Newman on a train platform, and Paul Newman told him, "You must build a home theater and I will be there and I'll be your first visitor." So he planted a little seed in his head, and for years he had this dream to build a home theater. And this man, Paul Newman, this legend, he told him to build it. Build it and they will come. I don't know, that was him, that was Kevin Costner, but anyway. So yeah, so we had to have Paul Newman on the wall, and this movie is just awesome. This is one of the coolest movie posters, like in the 1970s. That's just really cool, really trippy. One of my favorite Paul Newman movies. It was actually the first movie we played in here too, so that was awesome. We had to christen it with Paul Newman. He had to be the very first one here. So that's why Cool Hand Luke is there. Next up, of course, is Casablanca. This is my favorite movie poster of all time. I just think the designs from that period were fantastic. 1920s, 30s, 40s film posters are just gorgeous, and Casablanca is like the pinnacle of all those posters. I love this so much. Humphrey Bogart's my favorite actor. Actually, I'll turn this light off. That might be a bit better there, actually. So we've got Jimmy Dean here in Rebel Without a Cause. Jimmy Dean had to be there. One of the most iconic actors of the period. One of the most iconic movies of the time, too. I mean, James Dean is the reason why I'm wearing... Well, I'm actually not wearing jeans. I'm wearing chinos at the moment, but Jimmy Dean... Didn't do that very well. Jimmy Dean, he's the reason we wear jeans and we wear leather jackets sort of in public as like a fashionable thing. Just had to have him there. I love James Dean. Of course, I love Marilyn Monroe. She's just, again, pinnacle of that time period. I just love her. I love her movies. This is my favorite Marilyn Monroe movie poster too. This is I think it was an Australian movie poster or maybe a UK movie poster or something. I know it's not actually the it's not the main movie poster that they had for it. It's one of the variants, like international variants. But I loved it. I think that's just really gorgeous artwork. Same with the James Dean one, Red Without a Cause. That's actually the DVD cover artwork. But it's just such a dynamic thing and such an iconic thing. I had to use that one. It was gorgeous. And over here, of course, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Audrey Hepburn. Again, one of my favorite movies of that time. Audrey Hepburn, she had to be represented in here as well. I just love it. I love that poster. And they all sort of tie in. They've all got their similar sort of colors going between them. You've got the red sort of flowing between each poster. They're all sort of positioned so that they sort of flow on from each other. So you've got the red sort of goes across and then across and across. We had a Wizard of Oz poster here originally, and that sort of had reds and blues as well that went into it. And then Cool Hand Luke was actually over here, and sort of the orange flowed on from the Breakfast at Tiffany's poster. But I think it still looks good how it is. We moved the Cool Hand Luke poster when we put these two posters up. Come check these out. Turn that off. That's a bit better. It's kind of hard to get these on film. I've tried to take pictures of them before. There's so much glare from in here that you sort of can't get the pictures, but we'll do our best. These are really beautiful prints. They were released through Mondo. Jonathan Burton is the name of the artist that did both this one, Dracula, and Frankenstein, right here. These two movies, I just love these. These are two of my favorite horror movies of all time. Dracula, one of my favorite characters of all time, my favorite novel, and I just loved this movie. Fantastic. So I had to get these two screen prints here, and they're just printed beautifully. The colors are gorgeous, and there's like little specks of sort of silver ink and everything. I can't remember. I don't think they were a numbered issue. There's only a few hundred of them, I think, printed. I can't exactly read it there. 300 and something, I think. But yeah, I had to nab them straight away because I love these movies and they fit in there so well. So that's the cool thing. We found a lot of people usually just put like modern day movie posters or movie posters from the 80s, or, you know, we sort of thought that was going to be sort of a really easy thing. And when you're doing something like this, where you're designing it to look like sort of the period 20s, 30s, 40s, you've got to keep everything in the same style. So we went with some of the classic movie posters, and I think it just ties the whole room together. It's awesome. Talking about style, we got these here. Can't remember where we picked them up from, but they're sort of like Art Deco lights. So again, that fits in with the style of the room, which is really cool too. And of course, at the back, if you get a little look at that, we've got a little spotlight there. That was actually a sort of cinema room warming present from my uncle and auntie, who bought that for us when we first opened it up. And of course, a classic ice bucket down here. Again, in that same sort of 1920s Great Gatsby style. You gotta have an ice bucket. Don't know how much use that's actually had, but it sort of gives a nice feel to the room. Let's talk a little bit about the gear, I suppose. This guy right here, this is our SONY SXRD 1080p HD, full HD projector right here. This is not 4K. Sadly, we don't have a 4K projector yet. They're just incredibly expensive and they're not affordable at the moment for home use. But once that becomes affordable, this will probably be replaced. It's like probably not for a few years, but hoping that'll be replaced at some point. There's some really great 4K projectors out there apparently. My 4K setup's actually in another room in the house where I view all my 4K discs and stuff. But this, like, look, this looks great. Look at this from up here. This looks fantastic. And when you're in the home theater, it's just, it's fantastic. You don't really notice you're not watching 4K, but it's going to be mind-blowing when we do get 4K in here. We got, of course, you see these big guys right here. Big Paradigm speakers, I think, yes. This is a 7.1 surround sound system. So we've got a speaker here. We've got a speaker here. We've got a speaker here. So there's 3 of your speakers. You've got 2 in the roof, which actually were the last ones to come in. We're waiting a week or 2 weeks for them to actually deliver the roofs. 5 weeks, I'm being told. We had to wait 5 weeks to actually get these speakers in the roof. And when they came in, it's just a whole world of difference. And if I can get back up the back again, we've got a speaker here and a speaker up the back too. So these are all Paradigm speakers, and it was all part of the big setup Right here, this guy right here, it's a Paradigm subwoofer as well. I don't have the exact specs off the top of my head, but it's a really awesome sound system. That's done us really well for the last 4 or 5 years. That's nothing that I think will ever get replaced. I mean, you've got your whole Dolby Digital and Dolby Atmos and all that stuff at the moment, but in this kind of setup, you don't need anything more than like a 7.1 setup, really. I mean, you don't need hundreds of speakers running across your ceiling. I'm sure it sounds fantastic, it does in the cinemas, but this is just, for this size room and this kind of space, they're fantastic. They work really well. Down here, we've got the amplifier, which everything is going through. This is a Yamaha. It's a Yamaha amplifier. It is a RX V1073. This thing's fantastic. This is a little bit dated as well. This is probably the first thing that will get replaced when and if we sort of upgrade to 4K. The place where we got our surround sound system from, Big Picture people, they actually do, they did last year, I haven't seen them do it this year, but they did like a swap over program where you could give them your old Yamaha amplifier and they'll give you a new one for an extra like couple of $100 or something. So it's a really good deal. We just missed out on that. But the only problem with this is that it doesn't support 4K. It only supports 4K pass-through, I think it's called, which is basically, it's not full 4K. They produced this at the beginning of the 4K revolution, if you want to call it that. It was back when the industry still hadn't quite set its standard for 4K for home media, and Yamaha and everyone else who were making these receivers at that time, producing these 4K pass-through receivers, basically just made a big guess. Just sort of went, well, this is probably the way the industry is going to go. So you got a lot of these outdated amplifiers that sort of aren't exactly 100% industry standard. So yeah, that is something that does need to be upgraded at some point if this does ever get upgraded to a 4K system. So let's move over here to the players we've got. The first player down the bottom here is a Yamaha BD-A1020. This guy was not very good. The only reason we went with a Yamaha player was because it speaks very well with the Yamaha receiver. It's always good to sort of get things that talk to each other very well. The Yamaha player was just not very good. Look at this, the button sort of, don't know if you can see it that well. If I can put these, I might put these lights back on up here. That button sort of died really quickly there. Now it's turned itself on. We had a lot of trouble with the thing wouldn't turn off, and this was like from day one, from when we first got it. Apparently very, very common with these players. So we eventually did replace that because we were sick and tired of having trouble with this thing. Look, it's just, it says buy, and it says it for ages until you unplug it at the back. So we did eventually replace that with this guy here. This is the Samsung Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray player, which is fantastic. This is the older model. There's a newer model now. I don't have a model number on hand, but I think they only produced one 4K player anyway. So this guy's great. We haven't really had an issue with this one so far, and even though this is a HD system, it's not a 4K system, because this player can handle bigger color spaces, bigger pixel rates and all that kind of stuff, we do get a better image off that. It's slightly better, but it's noticeable. So even on regular Blu-rays, they get upscaled. You put in a 4K disc, you get really beautiful clarity. Obviously, it's not full 4K, but because this guy supports the sort of faux 4K pass-through, you do get a really beautiful picture, because again, it handles colors and pixel rates and all that kind of stuff better. So 4K players will work with something like this. Even if your projector isn't 4K, you can still get an image out of it. So if you're in the market for a new Blu-ray player, future-proof yourself, get a 4K player, it'll still work, and you get a minor uptick on clarity and detail. And then on top of that, we got this cheap guy right here, the laser Blu-ray player. This guy, we bought this from Good Guys, I think. I can't remember who sells it now. Big W, I think, sells them now. They are a region-free Blu-ray player, but they are crap. Basically, as they say, you get what you pay for. It was like 40 or 50 bucks or something, just really, really cheap. They will play any region Blu-ray, but the picture quality is not very good. Like, it's very pixely, but if you want an option to play region-free Blu-rays, that is a cheap, affordable option, but again, you get what you pay for. There is an Oppo player. The Oppo player will play region-free, but they are so expensive, like over $1,000 for a Blu-ray player, and we just couldn't be bothered spending that much money. But I try and avoid importing region 1 or sort of region lock titles from other regions as much as I can. I only have a few in the collection, but as soon as we realized this player just wasn't great, it just sort of didn't bother importing that kind of stuff anymore. We got a Wii in there as well. It's It's actually powered. Turn that off. Oh geez, a game in there. Mario Party 8. Don't know who played that. We'll put that back in and forget that ever turned on. So there's a Wii. It never gets played. I think I've played a couple of times. So that's it for that there. We've got this here, which is our remote sort of little thing there. We've got all our remotes in there. There's 101 different remotes for absolutely everything. There's our Essendon Bombers. Optus remote. This is the pride of the collection. Really beautiful. We actually use this guy here. This is the Logitech Harmony remote control, the Logitech Harmony universal remote. This thing's pretty good. Everything goes into this except for the laser player. It's a little bit fiddly sometimes. Like sometimes I prefer to just use the Blu-ray remote, especially if you're going to do something really fiddly with it, like go into settings or anything. It does like quick control, so everything sort of essential is there, but then you got to go through 101 different menus to get to sort of the more finicky sort of stuff. But it's good. It's good to just quick and easy. You hit one button and everything turns on. So basically you got all of these options here, and whatever you press, it'll just switch everything to the mode that it's supposed to be on. So like you hit watch movie, player turns on, the amplifier turns on, and it goes to the right settings, and of course it puts the projector on and just puts it. They're really quick and easy. But again, if you want to do something really finicky, you sometimes have to just pull out the actual remote, but it's not too often. In here we've got our PS4 games there, which is cool. And then over here, just very quickly, just all this, we got the set-top box in there, which doesn't get any use because digital TV doesn't work here very well for some reason. We've got our cable box here, Foxtel box, which is cool. And then under here, our PS4. That guy gets a bit of a workout. Love our PS4 here, as you can see all the games in there. And the Xbox 360, which doesn't get a workout. And of course, my favorite headset, Red 5 standing by. I have to do that every time. Before we move on, just sort of up on this here, again, we've got a couple of lolly jars here. Kylo Ren, BB-8, lollies and cookies and stuff in there. Of course, we have our themed napkins there, Star Wars. Lollies, we've always got lollies on hand, which is awesome. Little cups to put your lollies in. We did have like a whole set of them, but they ended up going in the bin after people used them all. So you sort of pull that out, get this here, get yourself a couple of lollies, yeah. And you go and you sit and you watch a movie, which is really fun. People are always into the lollies and the popcorn and stuff. And we've got just sort of a range of kind of lollies and stuff there. And down the other end, actually, entertainment-wise again, we got our Audio-Technica AT-LP 120 USB turntable, which is great. It's not sort of top of the line of turntables, but in its class, it's probably one of the best out there, if not the best out there. And what, $400 or $500 for one of these Australian, which is really great. And the sound is fantastic when it goes through the 7.1 sound system. I'm doing a burnout. It's fantastic. It's sort of all you want in kind of a setup like this, unless you're a real audiophile. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to play your records. We love this. And of course, you got my favorite little Spider-Man, turntable mat there, which is great. That's a Mondo piece as well. I love that. That's awesome. What else? We got these two beanbags here. These don't get used. As I said, cinema, we've had it for 4 or 5 years, and I reckon these have been used twice, maybe. Once on the first day we opened the theatre and we had heaps of family over, and then maybe one other time. I've been trying to get rid of these. No one wants them. So yeah, we've got these bean bags. I'll move them out of the way. This here, these are our curtains. These are sort of a few different reasons. One, aesthetically, look beautiful, fits the decor of the room, like 1920s, 30s, 40s cinema curtains. Great, they always had them in the big picture houses. Secondly, it's really soft, so the noise it absorbs the noise. That's the word I'm thinking of. It absorbs the noise, and it's not hard, so you don't get echoes and all that kind of stuff. Of course, all the walls are soundproofed as well, so sound in here is really fantastic. Doesn't really escape. And again, it doesn't bounce off the walls like really hard. It's really good sound in here. So that's another reason for them. Third reason, whoa, woo. Yeah, no, there's no wall behind there. There's actually another section of the room. So we'll do the whole Ben-Hur thing. And whoops, wrong one. There we go. it's a whole other section of the room, which is cool. So we open this up during the day. This is open most of the time. It's really only closed when we're watching a movie. So you've got your windows here. You've got these Venetian blinds here, which block out most of the light. But if you want to watch a movie during the day, you can close the curtains and it just blocks that, completely block out. So there's another reason we have the curtains here. It's just complete light block out from this section here, which is fantastic because the light pours through here during the day, even with the Venetian blinds there. But it's great. You can open it up during the day. Just really nice atmosphere in here with all the light pouring in from outside. Of course, this is where I keep all my Hot Toys. Don't want to talk about them in too much detail because yes, I will do a Hot Toys video one day going through the collection. Again, that's one of the most sort of requested things on the channel. All the pop vinyls up here. This is the big Superman Hot Toys box, which is fantastic. So I've got some Star Wars Hot Toys there. Over here, these are all the Marvel Hot Toys here. Marvel pop vinyls there. And then on the wall, of course, we have Avengers Age of Ultron movie poster. Fantastic. That's a 70 by 100 poster, so it's a bit bigger than those ones. I actually wanted to put a Force Awakens poster on that side there. 70 by 100. I found the poster, but when I went back to get another frame, the store had closed. And it's really hard to find 70 by 100 frames at a reasonable price. Like you pay hundreds of dollars for this kind of frame. I probably paid $40, $50 for that. So I wanted to go back, like one of those cheap sort of $2 stores. And I went back and again, couldn't get it, so that wall's sort of bare at the moment. But that big Superman thing sort of, you know, it sort of fills up a little bit of space. We'll get something there one day. But yeah, so that's great. We've got more LED lights up there as well. I didn't actually show you. They're all throughout the roof, as you can see. Up here, and then of course in the bulkhead up the back too. I didn't really mention that, but yeah, we've got lights all over the place. Really sets the atmosphere. It's beautiful. So this big section here, just a nice display space basically, and just a way to open up the room, make it feel a little bit bigger. We got some random things down here, random soft toys that really had no other place to be. Sort of the NECA figures. We started collecting the NECA quarter scale figures until we realized how good Hot Toys were. So these guys just sort of sit down here. My big Millennium Falcon, I think. Yeah, Han Solo and Rey are in there, which is awesome. Flying the thing. I think Chewbacca's in there somewhere. I couldn't be bothered opening that up. Chewbacca's inside that. We got this guy here. This was actually a present. 21st birthday present, I think, from one of our good family friends. He bought this for us for the theatre. So it was a bit of a 21st birthday / cinema warming present. And we keep in here all the blankets. People love going in and getting a blanket and snuggling up and watching a movie. So that's full of blankets. Of course, more pillows here. Captain America. You see these guys in the back of my videos occasionally. Captain America 1, Marvel, Disney, a couple other random little bits and pieces there too. So there you go. Over here, we've got some DVDs. These are all our TV series. I actually haven't gone through them on the vlog yet, but I will. This sort of this pile here is a little bit of overflow from the movies we keep in another room. You've seen them on my vlogs. I sit with the Blu-rays behind me. They're in another section of the house because there's just no room to store movies in here. One of the early ideas we had was to put them behind the curtains, maybe, but because of the window, there just wasn't enough room for movies there either. So there's a little bit of overflow. Most of this stuff is newer stuff we bought, so it's easier for us to go through stuff and go, haven't watched the Shallows yet. Let's watch that. Well, you know, I keep a lot of newer stuff there too until I do my Blu-ray update video. A little bit of behind the scenes for you guys. I keep them there and then I go, okay, time to do an update video, grab a couple of piles and go and do the video in front of the Blu-ray cabinet. We've got some more DVDs down there. I think there's like music and sports and sort of special interest stuff is all down there. So sort of the more just random television and special interest stuff, it gets stored in here. Whereas all the movies are in the other room. And of course, we've got all these little random pop vinyls and figures and stuff here. Old man Rick's favorite little Patriots, Brady and Gronkowski there. He loves them. And just a random little bobbleheads there. Marilyn Monroe's, Elvis, all these great Star Wars bobbleheads. These are my first bobbleheads, actually, these Star Wars ones. We bought them all at once at some Star Wars exhibition. I think they were cheap and we just had to stock up on them because they were fantastic. So I really love them. And of course, Sin City, Batman, Lone Ranger, John Wayne, Audrey Hepburn, just some really cool stuff there. So just stuff that really had no other place in the house. And that, I think, just about covers everything. So that's the home cinema room. Everyone's been asking about it for ages, and finally, you get a little tour of it. I'm finally happy I've found a little bit of time to be able to do this for everyone. So there you go. Now you all know where I film my little movie reviews. Sometimes, actually, here's another thing. When I do my movie reviews, I keep these windows open, and that's sort of how I get my side lighting. I usually put another sort of LED light here to light me as well while I'm filming my review. I'm gonna sit here. I've got this nice home cinema in the background. So let's take a seat. And close off this home theater video here today with a nice bucket of popcorn and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Awesome. Alright, I'm glad I've finally done that. I hope you all enjoyed the home cinema tour. Finally, I've got around to doing it. Yeah, we love this room. It's fantastic. Friends and family love it. And yeah, it's just a great place to just chill, play games, listen to music, watch movies, and just sort of show off all our collectibles, and we love it. And of course, use a little studio to film my movie reviews too, which is really cool. So look guys, thank you once again for joining me for another video. If you're a first time viewer of my channel and you like this video and you'd like to see some more, then please, at the end of the video, hit that big old subscribe button and give me a little bit of support. To all my regular viewers out there, thank you once again for joining me. To absolutely everybody out there, don't forget to hit that like button down below. It does a great deal in getting these videos out there. And look guys, I hope I'll see you all again soon. Until next time though guys, take care, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take it easy. See you later.